Hello. I've been accused of preaching the hippie Jesus. And I've been accused of being New Age, non-Christian. And so I'm doing a response video to what people are ashamed, and they should be ashamed, and what people are refusing to respond to me about. If you want a direct response for video, then make a response video. You can respond to my video and I can respond to your video. But these people know that they're working with what I call the powers of darkness, with Satan's kingdom. When instead of saying something outright, instead of approaching someone directly, someone who is not trying to be indirect, I'm not trying to be indirect about my message, someone who is trying to be straightforward about what I'm saying, these people are behind my back, and I wouldn't be surprised if most of my subscribers are really, my enemies. And I don't mean just, from a Christian perspective that they're serving the devil, but they're actively campaigning against me. Do you believe that? We see that the wicked get people campaigning against them. I would say that, I'm cooking something. Can you hear the creaking? I'm cooking something in the oven. Experiment a little bit with Mexican food. A little cumin. But see, when people have an open mind, they're called free thinkers and they're called atheists. If they're Christians with an open mind, they're thrown out. And that's your fault. Don't tell me you have an open mind. And then these atheists and free thinkers, not even they have an open mind, because they are refusing to acknowledge what they don't already accept. People don't want to think. It's really too bad. And as I have admitted, so I admit again, I've been in a mental institution. I've been in several mental institutions. Does that mean I'm crazy? Have you looked into what psychiatry is about? I suggest you do. Psychiatry is an interesting, wonderful field, and it's got a lot of crap in it, to try to use a nicer word. I've been thrown out of churches. Jesus said they will cast you out of their synagogues, and that's what they did to me. I've got a friend named Robert, and I think it was his sister. I think it was his sister. He lives in the same city I live in, and met him, and we got to talk a little bit, and now we talk all the time. And Robert said, I said, well, they physically throw me out, and I told him about that, and after a while, he was waiting and talking, and we were talking, and he said, yeah, the same thing, I think it was his sister, same thing happened to my sister. They were physically escorting her out, and saying, you don't ask those questions. And Jesus said, Pharisees, hypocrites, was there one, and he said, and you scribes, was there one religious leader in Israel that he didn't criticize? There was a synagogue ruler that believed in Jesus. There was Nicodemus, the Pharisee, that came to Jesus. But the majority of the religious establishment are doing what the majority of the religious establishment are doing today. They don't want you to hear the truth. When I hear Ray Comfort, when I hear Paul Washer, somebody sent me a Ray Comfort video, and it was a good video. But people like power. They like to tell you what to do. And if there's something good, you know that people like to do what's evil with it. If atheism is really the way to go, even if it's true that the atheists aren't going to tell you the truth. If Christianity is the way to go, you know that the Christians aren't going to tell you the truth. They're not going to. Because people are evil, and if there's something good for you in it, when it comes down to it's not just money that people, somebody said, well, they don't want me to have any money or all this stuff, the government or my boss or corporations. They don't want me to have this money, you know. But even more than that, I tell you the truth. Jesus said, everyone on the side of truth listens to me. Do I listen to Jesus? That's your choice. That's your decision. I'm not trying to deceive you. There's no game here. As I said, there's no PayPal account. I live with my own, I live on my own money. I don't need yours. Okay? Jesus said it is easier for a rich man to go through an eye of a needle. It is easier for a camel to go through an eye of a needle than a rich man to enter God. He went over to Zacchaeus' house, a rich man, and said, you know, what are you going to do, Zacchaeus, now that I've met you? And the Pharisees wouldn't listen to him, and the scribes wouldn't listen to him, and the Sadducees wouldn't listen to him. No religious group would listen to him. The accepted Jewish establishment, which is the same thing as the Christian establishment today, they won't listen to Jesus. But Zacchaeus said, you know, I'm going to give to the poor. And if I cheated anyone, I'm going to give them back 4 times as much. Jesus said, you know, my Father and all this stuff. I am from above, you are from below. And yet I get criticized. Well, Mark, you know, we don't like your philosophy. You're a philosophizer. I'm preaching Jesus. And if you don't recognize it, it's because you've listened to hypocrisy most of your life. Jesus said, beware of the teachers of the law, you know. He said that they're teaching the yeast of the Pharisees, which is hypocrisy. I'm not playing games, you know. I might goof around. I might play games sometimes, joke around and stuff. But when it comes to this, I'm dead serious. Jesus said, I am the bread of heaven. They said, what does that mean? We want real bread. And they want real money when they listen to Benny Hinn. Real, physical. I believe one of the authors of the New Testament, I can't blank on who it was, said, this kind of teaching is carnal. If you owe a debt to God, then you better get right with Him. Jesus said, use your money to make friends on earth, so when it's worn out, when it's gone, you know, you'll be received into the heavenly kingdom. And yet, I have a friend on here that I've known for a little while, and, you know, when somebody says, give to the poor, well, you won't do it. You know, when Jesus says, give to the poor, you know, Peter told Paul, you know, that, you know, he said, oh, they were eager for me to help take care. You know, they said, don't remember the poor when they sent Paul out on his missionary journey. He said, the very thing I was eager to do. See where your heart is? Who's going to help you? If you're not friends with God, you're His enemies. Jesus said that. You know, it's not some alchemy. You know, you have to get right with God. Or the judgment, the scales of justice will fall where they should fall. You want to play games? You want to call yourself a Christian because it's popular? You know, the atheists and the pagans and people like that, those are overtly that. At least they're being honest. You know, well, atheists say there's no God. I think that's being dishonest, and I think we all know that. But at least they're admitting what they are. You know, the fool says in his heart there is no God, and you're looking at the people that say with their lips there is no God. I'm not saying they're not evil. God forbid. I know they're evil. You think I don't know? I know that the atheists are evil. But the fool says in his heart there is no God. The very thing that you are saying. There will be a judge, and He is good. Throw yourself upon Him, which is, he is goodness, he is love. When you reject goodness and you reject love, what do you think you deserve? You deserve justice. We don't see God's goodness, we don't see God's love because we reject that. When someone comes and tells them the truth, they hate them. They hate me. You know, you hate me, my subscribers. You hate me, my viewers. And what have I done to you? And you can answer in a video response, you can answer in comments. But once again, you know, pertinent comments. I don't want to know how to curl my hair with some type of beauty fix, you know, relate to what we're talking about. God bless.